In this class, we're going to talk about sort. We're going to go over what is meant by sort, examples of sort, properties of sort, operation with sort, then we have the simplification of sort. Okay, now the big question is, what is meant by sort? Sort refers to the irrational root of a number. That is, a number whose root cannot be simplified to get a whole number or an integer. Are you get what I'm trying to say? So that is the meaning of sort. So in sort, we are going to be dealing with square root. The square root of a number that is not rational. Are you get what I'm trying to say? That is, it cannot be simplified to get a whole number. Okay, having understand what is meant by sort, let's look at examples of sort. Okay, examples of sort. Examples of sort. Now I'm coming. A typical example of sort is square root, the square root of 2. The square root of 2. Now, the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. The reason is because this one cannot be simplified to get a whole number. Do you understand? So, anytime you are taking the square root of a number that you cannot simplify to get a whole number, that one is what we call sort. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? A typical example, another example is square root of 3. Okay? Square root of 3. Square root of 3 also is also an example of sort because it cannot be simplified to get a whole number or integer. Do you understand now? So when you talk about sort, we are dealing with square root of a number that cannot be simplified to get a whole number. You can give me more example. Okay, let's talk about 7. Okay, another example is square root of 7. You can see another example. Let's go. Square root of 5. You can see that all these examples I'm giving you, they are a typical representation of examples of sort. Okay, now let's look at square root of 4. Can we say that square root of 4 is a sort? Square root of 4 is not a sort, and the reason is because if you can simplify the square root of 4. The square root of 4 will give us 2, you understand? So this is not a sort. Do you understand? Okay, let's look at the square root of 9. Square root of 9 will give us 3, so this is not a sort as well. Okay, so in sort, we are dealing with irrational root. You understand? I get what I'm trying to say. Irrational root of a number, that is, sort typically represents a number which cannot be simplified to get an integer or a whole number. So you can see now. Now, if you look at, let's look at another example. Square root of 36 will give us 6. So it's not a sort as well. So all these examples that you have here, they are not sort, and the reason is because they can be simplified to get a whole number. Abi? Now, having understand what is meant by sort and the examples of sort, let us proceed to the types of sort. Okay, types of sort. Now, please, I will start this explanation, and I want you to just pay attention. Okay. Now, the first type of sort that we're going to talk about is simple sort. What do I say? Simple sort. Let me erase this.